over 10 years ago, after looking through this track book 103 track plans, which is an old book, 1954 I believe, but it's still available. It has a load of small to large track plans and some very helpful notes on track design, minimum curves, track spacing, maximum grades, etc. Pretty good book overall. I decided on number 79 Frisco Lands from the track book as the basis for my layout. I wanted to run passenger trains, so needed broad curves. Mine are 36-inch minimum, some much larger. And I also wanted a large area for a passenger rail terminal. The crossover top left, tunnels at either end, plus the large terminal at the front help disguise it's really just a large oval, so the layouts work real well for me. Even 10 years later I haven't got bored with it. Shortly after deciding on the track plan, I built the bench work. Each side has two 24-foot L girders made from 3/4 inch ply, each standing on 4 legs. After 10 years there's been no issues with the bench work. It hasn't warped, etc. It's been very stable. I bought a MRC Prodigy DCC controller plus the Wi-Fi module, and I've used this with an iPad running Y-throttle. This has all worked very well with no complaints at all. The last 3 years I've been using DCC EX as I wanted to add automation to the layout, but unfortunately could not find much information on the MRC controller interface. On the other hand, DCCX is very well documented and pretty easy to use, so that's what I went with.
All aboard! All aboard! All aboard! The train is about to depart the town of High Desert for the Heritage Rail Terminal.
This is the first train I purchased 10 years ago, a Walters Great Northern Empire builder locomotive and a few passenger cars. In the first 2 years I built the benchwork, the 3/4 ply roadbed for the main line, and had the train running on the main line. This checked out the quality of the track laying and DCC wiring. The train ran well first time. Since then I've had zero issues with the DCC. Then no more work until about 5 years ago when this picture was taken. It shows the bench work, the ply road bed and the double loop track, and I've started adding the foam. The basement is unfinished, so I added drop cloths to the ceiling and walls, which has worked pretty well, and it's still up. This picture shows the nearly completed foam. Installing the foam was a bit tedious, so I set a target of at least like 3 pieces a day, so I finished it in about 3 weeks. Next was cutting the foam. This went very quickly and it was nice to see the landforms take shape. I used a mixture of saws, a serrated kitchen knife, or anything which gave the right texture. This is the river canyon halfway completed. I just cut the foam to simulate the rock walls. You can still see the layers of foam, but I filled the gaps with sanded grout, and once painted this looked quite reasonable. I built 2 previous small N-scale layouts. The first was scrapped after a year. The track was just too complicated and unreliable. The second was an L-shaped double dog bone, which is shown in this video. Shortly after, a job move forced me to give the layout away. I've still got the Kato loco, which ran very well. With these layouts I mounted the cork road bed directly onto the foam, and it was a little tricky to get a smooth, reliable track, especially on the gradients. So for my present HO layout I've used 3/4 inch ply base and just using foam for the landforms, which has worked out a lot better. Back to my present layout, it's a heritage passenger rail terminal set somewhere in the Western Desert. An Amtrak superliner runs on the main line in a westerly direction, with excursion trains arriving and departing the rail terminal. Here is the Empire Builder running over a 3D printed bridge. The brickwork is just cut into the foam and painted grey, easy to do. This picture is of the rear of Union Station. The buildings are Walters kit. Palm trees are from Hobby Lobby, painted with shades of green and brown. Not brilliant, but it'll be okay for now. Here's the maintenance and restoration facility. The building kits and turntable are Walters. I used sanded grout for the ground cover, which came out not so bad. I've two PCC streetcars which run between this area and Union Station.
Momentarily, the High Desert PCC streetcar will be departing the maintenance and restoration facility for Union Station.
Passengers for the tour of the Santa Fe interlocking signal tower, please disembark the streetcar. Momentarily, the streetcar will continue to the maintenance and restoration facility.
Here's my effort at adding lights to a building. It's just cheap 3-volt LEDs from Amazon, and I've powered strings of 4 from a 12-volt power supply. It doesn't look too bad at all. Here is the 440 again. It's a Bachmann model and runs pretty well. I used Pico Code 83 track. Turnouts have insulated frogs, and this little guy runs over them fine. I see lots of discussion on soldering rail joiners, but I've not soldered any, and things seem to be running fine.
The Union Pacific steam excursion, pulled by a Class FEF2 locomotive number 829. These locomotives were the last premier passenger steam power used by the Union Pacific. Arriving at Platform 8. The half-day excursion to the western town of High Desert, the train is an 1860s-style replica, pulled by the Central Pacific's locomotive Jupiter, famous for the Transcontinental Railway completion Golden Spike ceremony at Promontory Summit, Utah. Arriving at Platform 6. The High Desert Day excursion, pulled by a recently rebuilt BMCE-1 diesel locomotive, developing 1,800 horsepower, and showing off the colorful Santa Fe Super Chief livery. Arriving at Platform 6. The High Desert Day excursion, pulled by a recently rebuilt BMCE-1 diesel locomotive, developing 1,800 horsepower, and showing off the colorful Santa Fe Super Chief livery.
Now we'll see if we can turn the table. Whoops, did go the other way. Woo! Woo, what's happening? It's a disaster. In a rush. In a rush. Here we are, let's get a low view. Here he comes. Spoke too soon. Power off. Well, that's a record run, and this is the end. So I think I'm not sure. I'll have to go and have a look at the log, see what happened. Anyway, that's it. That's the fun over.